Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to share with you something. I'm just clicking on my computer to get the information properly. This is mostly for tenants, landlords and tenants. There's a question about access that I've been asked lately and what we're allowed to do and who's allowed to do what when it comes to accessing a unit that is tenanted, whether it be an apartment building or a house that is tenanted with, and you own a house and you have a tenant in it. When are you allowed to access and how are you allowed to access? And step one, 24 hours notice at all times. No question, that's the minimum amount of notice that is required. But I wanted to read you this out. This is from the government. This is from the Residential Tenancies Act. It's kind of a short form of the exact wording of this. But it says entry with 24 hours notice. A landlord can enter the rental unit between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Doesn't mention a day, so any day. And only if they have given the tenant 24 hours written notice, it does say written notice in here, to make repairs or do work to the unit, to carry out inspection where reasonable in order to determine whether repairs are needed, to allow potential mortgagee or insurer of the complex to view the unit if you're remortgaging the house, so on and so forth, to allow potential purchaser to view the rental unit. Note, the Act also allows a registered real estate salesperson, agent or broker to enter for this purpose if they have written authorization from the landlord. So we will have a written undertaking, i.e. a contract to lease the place out, which is our written authorization to access the unit. And ultimately at that point then, we'll have to go and give 24 hours notice. It says to allow an engineer, architect, or other similar professional to make an inspection for the purpose of conversion under the Condominium Act for any reasonable purpose allowed by the rental agreement. So if you've put in the rental agreement ahead of time that you may need access for whatever, maybe the landlord has storage that he uses for his own personal use in the basement and he wants to go grab his mountain bike or something like that, he or she has to give 24 hours notice before they are able to go and grab that. It says the notice must include the reason why the landlord wants to enter the rental unit and must state what time between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. the landlord will enter the unit. If the landlord gives the tenant the correct notice, the landlord can enter even if the tenant is not at home. So ultimately, really, what this is saying, based on what I have here, is if I'm showing the unit as a realtor especially, and I give you, as a tenant, 24 hours written notice, I technically don't need your consent. I just have to give you notice that I'm coming to the unit to view it as per the landlord's instructions with a client, so on and so forth. Ultimately, written notice, I've been in a course before where they said to me that written notice, the only acceptable form of written notice is a letter on the door in the name of each tenant on the lease. So in other words, individual letters, one for Nancy, one for Tom, husband and wife that are renting the unit, and on the door or under the door or whatever, written notice. And some people have also said to me, email is fine at this point. Email is the way of the world. Everyone's doing it. Just to be safe, if you're a landlord out there, give people written notice and actually try to get it to their door. Now, if you have a really busy condo building or unit or whatever that you're selling and you're going to have 40 showings on a weekend, probably best just to block the showings off for the tenant so as to not inconvenience them, especially if you have a really good tenant. You don't want to lose really good tenants and piss them off. You ultimately want to give them the best opportunity to have a comfortable lifestyle in that house while having 40 showings through. So do an open house or have some sort of blocked set of showings on a Saturday afternoon or whatever day is most convenient for your tenant. Ultimately though, the law says 24 hours written notice between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. any day, and we are accessing that unit. It's a simple fact. Now, as a tenant, just to give you a little heads up here, you have a little bit of say here, just a tiny bit. If an agent showing your unit is 10 seconds late, 30 seconds late, a minute late, whatever, they're not on time, you can tell them to go fly a kite. You do not have to allow them access to the unit if they are there at 2:01 p.m. and you're supposed to be there at 2 o'clock p.m. So keep that in mind, and if you're a realtor out there watching this and you're booking a whole bunch of showings and you see a tenant's involved in one, you want to be at the unit at the time that you state that you'll be at the unit, because ultimately the tenant has the right to refuse entry if you're not there at the time that it is stated you will be there. So simple facts, 24 hours notice, written notice, you're in the unit, But at the end of the day, let's everybody be friends and try to work together to make it right. You know, you never know what could happen. You never know how many showings are going to happen. There might be 8, there might be 40. But at the end of the day, let's work together to get a sale. Let's work together to get you into, as a tenant, to not inconvenience you too much. And as a landlord, to sell your place. That's what we do here. That's our job, to know the rules and know what we're doing so that landlords don't get in trouble and tenants don't get evicted. Simple as that. Have a good day, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.